Welcome everyone. Today we're going to work on building a color theory poster. Now there's a lot of different things we're going to do in this. First, I'm going to teach you how to work in Adobe InDesign, and specifically I'm going to teach you how to make a multi-column design on a page. So here is an example. You'll notice I've kind of grayed out the text because your job as a student is to fill in this text and to research these items. But first, let's just work on laying out our poster. So with this, I'm giving you a file. In this file, it's an IDML file. And on the left side of the file, you kind of have my rough idea of how I want the poster to look. And on the right, I'm giving you a couple of different assets to make your life a little bit easier. So we have our color models, we have a Pantone swatch, and I'm giving you a color wheel. And finally, I'm giving you all the different formulas to create all the colors for the color wheel. So with this stuff, we're going to go ahead and we are going to start building this poster. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this image. I'm going to bring it with me so I can use it to help me design. So let's go ahead and let's create a new document. For this document, we're going to use inches. And we're going to set it up for what's called tabloid size. Now a tabloid is two 8.5 by 11s together. So our width is 11 and our height will be 17. We're not doing facing pages, so you can uncheck that. And just leave your margins at a 1/2 inch. That's a good margin to get this started. And go ahead and hit create. Now, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to paste my roadmap. So Control V. And I'm just going to put that over to the side. And we're going to get started. You'll notice the red over here, I'm calling out my sections. So this section here is going to be a 3-column design. This section here is a 4-column. Then we're going back to 3 columns. And then we're doing 4 columns or maybe even 2 columns, depending on how we want to do it. So we're going to go ahead and get this laid out. And then we're going to start filling it in with content. So first things first, let's start the 3-column design. So we got to turn on columns on our page. So the easiest way to do that, we're going to go up to layout, margins and columns, and tell it to be 1, 2, 3. So now I have 3 columns, and we can go ahead and get started with this very top part of the design. So first things first, we're going to put a color wheel at the top. So go over here, and you're going to copy, paste, and you can just go ahead and just move them right up there for now. And let's go ahead and grab our text tool, and we're going to just put in a title. So I'm going to click and drag, and I'm just going to type in color theory. You guys are going to do all the work with the fonts later. I'm not going to worry about that. Right now we're going to worry about just setting this up. Now we're going to set up our different color models. So we're going to put a little header here. And we're going to call it color models. And then we're going to grab our mixture of colors here. And we're going to go ahead and paste one. And I'm going to notice I'm lining it up just underneath all of this. And then if I hold down the Alt key or the Option key on a Mac and slide over, whoops, it's supposed to make a duplicate. Where's my duplicate? Oh my gosh, having a bad day here. Well, I'm going to Control Paste, but normally the Alt key would duplicate. I'm having a shortcut issue. All right, and then we can start doing our text. So the first color model I want you to work on, this is called subtractive. Subtractive, whoops, can't spell today. The other one, right next to it, is called additive. And then underneath this one, we're going to do HSB, Hex, and Lab. So these are ones that we use, but they're not quite as common. So HSB, and then Hex, and then finally Lab. And you might have to resize these a little bit. I want them to fit here. Because what my hope was is we would draw a nice little box around this area, like that, to keep them all together. Go ahead and put a stroke on this area. Let's see, a 1-point stroke. There we go. So that way they're all kind of boxed in there nicely, ready to go. Turn it on preview mode. And there you see we have our color models, the subtractive, the additive, and then I want you to look up HSB, Hex, and Lab, and you can learn all about those and see exactly what they are. Give me a short definition for each one. That way I know you kind of understand it. Now, the next one we're going to add is our spot color over here. So go back, let's grab our spot color. And we can move him up into position up here. Now, I kept him outside because it's not really a color model per se on the computer. It's defining something a little bit different. You guys will learn what that is as you do this, but let's go ahead and we're going to put spot color. Spot colors, there we go. And you're going to kind of define that for me as well. So, we've done the first section here. Let's go ahead and let's do our color harmony section. So let's make a new header here. We'll call it Color Harmonies. And let's change our columns to 4. So go out to Layer, Margins and Columns, and tell it to be 4 columns. And now we can quickly and easily line these up. So here we go. We're going to copy. We're going to paste. And just put them right in the center of the columns. I just pasted him again. Pasted him again, and one more, paste, yep. There we go, so I have 4 going across. They are not perfectly lined up, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna group these items, Control G to group, or Command G on a Mac. And we can use our layout tools, our align tools over here, and we can just align them on the top, and that way they're nice and aligned. And then you can always go back and you can ungroup them. So Control Shift G, and that will ungroup all of our items. And there we go. So now we just put our different titles underneath. So this one would be called Analogous. Make sure you spell items correctly. I can't tell you if that's spelled correctly or not. And this would be Complementary. This would be Split Complementary. And finally, we have Triad. So now we have quickly set up a lot of this poster. Let's go ahead and let's preview it. You'll notice we already have a lot of this ready to go. Let's go ahead and let's get the next section of this ready. And again, we're going to switch this back to 3 columns. And we're going to set up our color temperature and color psychology. So let's get our title. It's going to be a longer one. Color temperature and psychology. And now we're going to create a bunch of little boxes. Now, we can use our grids or our columns to help create these boxes as well. We can push this up to maybe a 12 column design. And you'll notice I get a good size here to make our different colored items. So maybe I want the boxes to be like that. Give them a stroke, a 1-point stroke. So there, I have a box ready to go. I can put the word next to it. Taking up 3 columns, so we get to go one more, like that. So this would be red. And then we can Alt and drag, but that's not working, so I have to copy paste. You guys should be able to Alt and drag. Next one down would be orange. Next one down would be yellow. And the last one down will be pink. And now we can do the next column. So we can copy, we can move these again. You guys can hold Alt and drag as well. So these are, oops, I forgot to put the headers. We'll do that here in a second. So here we have white. We have black. we have gray, and we have brown, and we have one more set, so I'm going to paste one more time. Over here we have green, oops, spell it correctly, blue and purple. And let's go ahead and let's define the color temperatures for each one of these. So what I'm going to do is move them down slightly and fit in my subheaders. So I'm just using the mouse key and just kind of pushing them down. And we'll set up our 3 text boxes. So these right here were our warm colors. These are our neutral colors. Oops, spelled wrong. Neutral. And these are our cool colors. So those are our 3 different color temperatures. And finally, we're going to get to the bottom. So let's go ahead and let's set this up again. We can just do a simple 2 columns if we want. And we're going to do definitions at the very bottom. So go across and just say definitions. And then our definitions down here, I want you to define hue, saturation, and value. And then over here, I want tint, shade, and lightness. Shade and lightness. Whoops, got to move some things around. And lightness. So there we go. We've set this up. We can start cleaning some items up. And now really the job on you guys is to start aligning and sizing. So these should be nice and aligned for me. And you guys should already know that. So there, the top there, align shade to shade. There we go. Bring lightness up. There we go. Things should start to get aligned. Let's go ahead and hit preview. So now I have the basic frameworks to build my poster. From here, we would start filling items in and adding fonts and making this look good. So let me help you out a little bit with that. So first things first, we are going to need some colors. So let's pull over some colors. And I'm just going to put it over here on my paste board. And again, we'll put it on normal, so at least that way we can see some of our colors. Yep, there we go. They're kind of hard to read, but we got them. There we go. Whoops, let me zoom out a little. There we go. So first things first, let's go ahead and let's just talk making some colors. So we're going to open up our swatches, and we already have cyan, magenta, yellow, and red, green, and blue, it appears. So we have a good start. So let's go ahead and let's just set one of these color wheels for the magenta. Whoops, but I don't want the outline, I want the fill. There we go. I would find it easiest to maybe come through and do all of them at the same time. So that would be our magenta color. The one next to magenta would be a rose. So maybe let's fill all these with a rose color. So what I would probably do is I would make my swatch, and we'll go ahead and get it set up. So for rose, it's 0, 100, and 50. So 0, 100, 50. And that would be my rose color. And then I would come through, hit all of these with my rose color. There we go. So you have to build the color wheels. Now the other thing I want you to do with the color wheels, I want you to somehow show off the different color harmonies. So the way I did this, I did it by scaling these pieces of the color wheel. So let me show you how I do that, because it's easy to kind of mess this up. One way to do it is to grab your piece and to scale it. But if you're going to transform your piece, I recommend transforming, you got to go over here and you have to set the correct reference point. And I would set it for the middle reference point. Because if you use one of the corners, it's going to scale in a way that you don't want. But if you do it from the middle, hold shift and drag, you can scale it up and it will become a bigger shape. But I will show you an easier way, I think, to do this. So for analogous, that's normally we choose 3 of these side by side, and we are going to scale them up. An easier way is to do this using numbers. So I would go to Object, Transform, and I could say Scale, and I could scale this up by a percentage. So maybe 105%. Make sure it is locked here so they're both doing 105. Hit Preview and notice it made them slightly bigger. Maybe I'll say 110. I think I want 105 because I'm going to pull them out this time. And we're going to hit OK. And then I can grab my pieces and I can pull them out a little bit. And that's a quick, easy way to show off that those are going to be slightly bigger, and that is my analogous. Of course, you have to fill it all in, but you get the idea. I expect you to fill in your different color models. What is subtractive? What goes in the middle? What is additive? What goes in the middle there? For spot colors, whoops, didn't mean to do that. For spot colors, we have to do something a little bit different. In my classroom, you guys will notice I have some swatch books, and you can go through and you can find a Pantone color you like. Now, it used to be we would load our Pantone colors inside of InDesign, but now it's a subscription model and we can't do that. So what we're going to do for this project, we're just going to use the RGB value on the swatch book to define the color, and that'll work for me. So in this case, we're going to do Pantone 258. So we have an RGB of 140, 71, 153. So we're going to go here and we're going to tell it to be RGB. And it was 140, 71, and I think it was 193. That looks correct. 153. 153. There we go. So that is our Pantone color. We can also rename this, and we can call it Pantone, what was it, 258. And this would be our Pantone color. And you can go ahead and fill in this swatch right here with your Pantone color. And normally, for Pantone colors, we write the color on the swatch, so it would be Pantone 258. And you can make that a little bit smaller, maybe down to 10. And there we go. Let me double click the hand tool there. So we have a good start. I've shown you how to build the colors. From here, my expectation is to start filling this up. We can use some of our styles to make our life easier. We can start to define our headers. So maybe I might make a new paragraph style, and I'll call it heading 1. And maybe we'll define it. Right now I'm just going to do type size. I'll say maybe all the headings are going to be 18. And now I'm going to say that's a heading. Color harmonies is a heading. Color temperature and definitions. Maybe they're all my heading 1 size. Maybe I might call a lot of these heading 2 sizes. So I might make a new one for heading 2. And I'm just going to define the size. Maybe we'll say they're 14. So I can come through, I can select some of these items, and I can call these my heading 2 sizes. There we go. Heading 2. So I'm already starting to use that idea of hierarchy to define the level of importance of items. And now you start filling it in and start designing on your way to make something like this. And I'll be honest, you could even go further. You could add colors in the background. So maybe I want the whole page to have a color background. Probably not that strong. So we could set maybe we could set a tint, bring that down. I can send this object to the back. And there I'm already starting to set it up on a nice purple background. Maybe I could define this as a darker purple, change the fonts, and do some fun things. So from here, it's really on you to play with the design and do some fun things. So I'm going to leave you here. Let me know if you have any questions.